Hello YouTube, Ben back again with another interesting video today. Today is going to be about my headlamp and the kind of issues that I've faced with it. Okay, so as you guys can see, I've managed to separate the plastic housing from the headlamp, and well, this technically in my opinion is the worst part on the bike. It's like the weakest part on the bike. It's really weak plastic. You can touch it and you will know what I'm talking about, and it starts cracking pretty much everywhere. I mean, if you can see, it's developed a crack here, it's developed a crack all over here on the sides, and it's developed a crack here on the top. And I've tried to fix things up, but then it's a shitty piece of plastic. It's really weak, and today's video is going to be about welding these bits with these plastic zip ties. And my trusted soldering iron. So today is going to be a little bit of a welding session. I mean, this is definitely not my idea. I did look up on YouTube, and there were these videos by one guy called Del Boy's Garage, and he had made some amazing content on quick fixes. I mean, there's plenty of cracks. Oh my god, there's some here. There you go. I mean, I can play with the plastic now. It's that weak. Okay, so here's the soldering iron, and here's what we're gonna do. If you can see, I'm gonna start welding this thing. Start at the source, and you push the plastic. Okay, so this kind of emits a really poisonous gas, and it's best to have your corona mask on when you want to work on this. Now, just a bit on the inside as well. I mean, if you just get good at this, then there's absolutely nothing stopping you. You can go about repairing cracks all the time. Pretty happy with the fact that I'm able to help myself out of this. Yeah, there you go. So this is where it starts. And it's best to go about halfway into the material. And this pattern is interesting. I tried studying this pattern. I tried to understand why the man chose to do it in this pattern, and this is kind of This is interesting. This is stacking up the layers of melted plastic on top of the other. So when you stack them up, it's kind of double reinforcement. It's not like you're just rubbing this hot metal on top of it and just melting the top layer. When you dig in, you're kind of melting the entire plastic there. And then when you dig in right next to it, you kind of form this stitch kind of an effect where these plastic layers are kind of reinforcing each other, all the melted plastic. And it's wonderful to think that, you know, something as simple as this could be the fix for all sorts of plastic crack related problems. So now it's time to do a nice stitch weld on top and see if that will hold. So here goes. Melt, 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 and keep repeating that process. This is Scotch Brite, and what I shall do with this is I'll chop this into bits, like really small bits. The idea is to have this as a metal layer that can be sandwiched in between the plastic. Okay, so that's all the metal you need. And now if you watch closely, this is going to be interesting, because I haven't done this before. I have absolutely no experience with this, but it's just me and my trial and error nature. I just love trying things out, and this is one of those instances where so I'm kind of trying to push the metal in. Okay, so now if you see, this was crazy surprising for me, because I just saw a video on people using a metal wire mesh, and they kept it and they started applying heat on top of it, and it just got absorbed by the plastic, and it was nice to see how that worked. But then to try things with Scotch Brite, I mean, this is nothing but Scotch Brite. If I can get the camera to focus, this thing that I have on my hand is the metal Scotch Brite, and I just thought of replicating the same thing that I saw on the video with this particular Scotch Brite, and man, oh man, look at the result. Look at how it's worked. This is tricky. So if you guys can see, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the zip tie and I'm going to add plastic on top of it. So we'll see how that goes. So this is just adding material. the job. I mean, it looks shitty for now, but I'll come back on it and kind of give it a nice grind and see how this looks. I didn't really have a mesh wire set up with me, so I decided to use the Scotch Brite. I chopped them into bits and I just dug them deep into the plastic, and it takes a bit of a steady hand to go about doing it and figuring out the right the exact temperature in which it starts getting it starts sinking, and then you shouldn't continue to push on it. So there is some amount of experience in there, but that being said, things have turned out to be really well. So that's the job. After, if you can see the edge now, I've kind of leveled it with my file, and I initially thought I would use the drill bit and sand it nice and clean, but then now I have different ideas. What I intend on doing now is I'll apply a tiny coat of putty. This is automobile putty, so one tiny coat of putty there, and then once that dries, I'll sand that and then go in with a coat of paint maybe. And so that's the next step. Okay, so that's the grey putty in place. I have given it a nice coat, kind of a thick coat, and I'll wait for this to dry. I'll give it about 2 to 3 hours, or maybe a little more than that, and then sand grind it with my grinder. Well, that's the job after the putty and some scuffing with the 320 grit sandpaper. Giving it a nice clean with a bit of an alcohol rub. I mean, I'll use the hand sanitizer for the same. And well, then on with the paint. 2-3 coats of this, and we are good to go. We can use it as it is, and we have kind of managed to save our dear headlamp housing from going into the trash. Well, that seems to have done it. A perfect seal on top, and nothing to worry. So if you can see, one can really not spot anything now. There's absolutely nothing. The welds that I did were here, here and there, and you can only see it if you come up on this angle. Like, you can see it there. But otherwise, from here, from the front, nothing. Absolutely nothing. And the top part with a bit of a paint did it. Of course, there's a bit of a mess. I can clean it up, I can scuff it again, and then go on top with another coat of paint. But then I don't really care. That's any which ways a patch-up job. I'll do it some other day. I don't have access to any paint today, so any which ways, that's a job well done. The headlamps back on the motorcycle, and that's all that matters, isn't it? Any which ways, that's the whole of it. That's the entire video coming to an end. So to wrap it up, one last piece of info. Anytime you decide to work on plastic, it's either a hit or a miss. So if you were to get the temperature of the soldering iron a little too much, and if you were to dig in, and if it just goes through once, then kind of forget it. Kind of forget the whole idea of correcting it, fixing it and all that. Just let it be. Get yourself another new one. But then with patience and with some practice, if you can. I mean, I am an artist. One side of me is an artist, so I have these hands which are really sensitive, and I know how to go about things where there's very little pressure and a good hand involved. I don't have a problem doing that. So if you guys are not sure about this, go to a professional, a specialist who can do it for you. But it's definitely something which is doable. That's all that I wanted to convey with this video. It is something that is doable, and you don't have to all the time keep shelling out money for a small piece of cracked plastic. It can be repaired. If you like the video, kindly do subscribe and share these videos. See you guys on another video. Something hopefully a little more relaxed and casual and fun. Maybe another unboxing video. So see you then.